What's up, peeps? Pyro here, and today I will be breaking down both the worst and best tracks that I found on Friday during a sound discovery, which we do live on Twitch. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out the description and join our little community there as we check out new tunes every Friday. Normally we're doing that in the punk, ska, core, rock, that kind of stuff. We're just checking that out as it drops. Well, let's start with the worst tracks and work our way to the best. Again, I'm going to be as respectful as possible. While I like the vocals for this track, Dead Icarus, so I set myself on fire, it just kind of had a very monotone feel all the way through, and the sound kind of felt a little muffled. Didn't really bring anything new to the table here in the terms of metalcore, and it kind of felt a little rather generic. So this was one of my first tracks that ended up in the not so much a fan list. The next one is Time Flies by Suffocate Faster. While I do enjoy Suffocate Faster, this track really suffered from just a kind of monotone vibe all the way through. There was no freshness brought to it. It all kind of sounded the same. And the 2 minutes and 41 seconds of this track just kind of all felt bland because there's not a whole lot of ups and downs through the track. And there are definitely some production stuff on this one, but being hardcore or hardcore punk in that area, that's rather understandable. But this track was not for me. You're Okay by Rooftape, which that's a wild name for a band, but it is original. I'll give them that. Instrumentally, I was really excited about this track on the first 40 seconds of the song. It just had a really nice pace, sounded really high quality, and in areas gave me some like newer propaganda vibes. Now, that being said, as soon as the vocals kick in, this track kind of falls apart, it slows down, and instrumentally and vocally, things are just not quite meshing up for me. And yeah, vocally is one of my issues with this, and which you're going to have with punk music. As I've said plenty of times, it's the hate-love of punk. You're going to have vocals that you absolutely love and vocals that just do not do it for you, but they all belong together, and that is kind of the thing of punk. You're just out there doing it right. Now, that being said, I can't get into these vocals, and I don't really understand why they slowed things down a little bit, and like I said, the instrumental and the vocals do not mesh up real well for me here. So this is going to make number 8 on the worst tracks list. All right, so our next one is Zig by Happy. And while this does have some interesting moments, for instance, around that 1 minute mark, there's this nice little guitar riff and there's some decent lyricism. The rest of the lyrics are just rather cringy. The sound of the chorus is not great. And there's a lot of repetition there. When you zig, I zag, it just over and over throughout the song. And the instrumental just did not do enough to really bring you in, besides that one spot with the guitar, which was nice. So our next one is a new Droid In Town by Pisser. And this is a really intriguing mix of ska-core. Now, I think this is one of those songs that there's going to be people that really enjoy this, and it's unique for sure. But there's just a lot of odd noises, scratching, beeping, which makes sense with the droid thing. Vocally, while you're not really understanding what's being said because of the ska-core nature of things, the screaming, weirdly, I enjoyed the atmosphere that brought. But as a whole, the song was just a little too much going on during it. The horns were spotty for me to enjoy, but definitely added to the chaos. So this is a really chaotic track. Not a fan, but I could 100% see the potential for someone to like this. So if you like really chaotic tracks, you're going to want to check this one out probably. The production is not the greatest either for this one. So our next track is Early in the Morning by Dead Raze. This was intriguing because vocally kind of sounds like Keith Morris of the Circle Jerks, but way slowed down and over just an oversimplistic rock paced instrumental. Did not do it for me. There's almost kind of a doomy, gloomy feel to this track too, which is intriguing. But yeah, it just didn't do much to really spark interest and kind of left it fall into the wayside for me. Our next one is I Need a New Boyfriend by Charly Bliss, which obviously just from the title, the lyrics really don't line up with something I can connect with as I'm, straight male. So that being said, sometimes though, this, the lyrics that might be fun enough that kind of bring you in, even if you can't connect, are the sound. But neither of these did that for me, unfortunately, which is, it's not a big deal to me, as I really enjoyed the band's last track that they dropped. So I'm just going to take this as a miss. But yes, it's still Charly Bliss. You got the really bubblegummy pop punk vocals, and instrumentally there was nothing spectacular here with the song either, which kind of leaves it to end up on this list. So if you can relate to the lyrics, there might be something a little bit more potential there for you. But yeah, the next track is by Infected Mushroom and Omer Adam. The title is in Hebrew, and so I don't have a title there for you. Now, while some of the instrumentals here are interesting, I think as a whole, it kind of came off rather boring, especially compared to some of Infected Mushroom's other tunes that we've checked out. That being said, I actually believe the Hebrew language really added to this song for me. Just kind of gave it a different vibe, especially culturally. But at the end of the day, the track just kind of felt a little bit boring, and especially for the length around that 5 minutes, it was a little too just blah, just to be honest. Kid Cudi makes it at number 2 for the worst tracks that we found this week, and he is going further and further in that Travis Scott vibe. Oh, not a fan of his stuff with that. There has been a few tracks on like Man of the Moon 3 that I enjoyed with this sort of sound, but there's a nice bit in the beginning where he's just repeating insano, insano, insano. It's not Cudi's best work by any stretch of the imagination. The vocals have a heavy, while you can still see the original Cudi in there, the vocals have a very heavy, like, distortion, auto-tune vibe to them as well, that just make it seem more and more like Kid Cudi is trying to sound like Travis Scott, which is wild to me. I know Kid Cudi said that Travis Scott has been an influence on him, but still, like, I feel like he's sacrificing a lot of his sound to sound more like Travis Scott, and it's just very bothersome. This track makes it number 2 on the worst tracks of the week. And number 1, I was honestly, while cover songs are not my thing, but I was honestly excited about this one. Doro, her vocals are just so raw, powerful. Love it. Rob Halford, Judas Priest, legend. Total Eclipse of the Heart, banger of a ballad. What could go wrong? I don't know. There was no chemistry here. Just did not sound great in general, quality-wise. The production is not quite there, and the song just came out being super average and very sad, which led this to number 1. Why did we need this? It went from something I saw, I'm like, I needed this in my life, to listening to it and being like, why did we do this? Might be a little harsh, but that's just my opinion. And this is the worst track of the week, in my opinion. Yeah. There you guys have the worst tracks. And now we're on to the best. We have Sunflower by Flying Raccoon Suit. This is just a fun tune, some wonderful horn instrumentals as well, and just a really groovy punk ska punk vibe. Like it's nice. I really enjoyed her vocals as well, which are really solid. And this honestly is the kind of ska punk that I really enjoy. It kind of reminds me of Dance Hall Crashers or Save Ferris, something in that range of things. But this is going to be a bop for me all week. Very enjoyable. And then we have at number 9, Crash and Burn by Hollowfront featuring JT Cavey. Oh, metalcore. Metalcore has been extremely boring lately. Just super formalic and like blah. Generic. It's unfortunate, but it's all starting to sound really the same. The scheme is just not there with a lot of this metalcore that has been put out. They're not trying anything new. It just sounds rinse, repeat. It's bothersome. But this track is a banger. Takes all the best Hollowfront things you love from Hollowfront, mashes it in with a nice Texas in July era feel. It is fantastic. There's some nice swap ups throughout the song, keeps it fresh. This song is a banger. The F-bombs that are dropped later in the song, icing on the cake. So if you're looking for something a little bit more fresh in metalcore, this one's where you want to go. Okay? This is what you want. Next we have Resident Evil 2. PWRUP. Dissidente. I'm not pronouncing that one correctly, I'm sure of it. However, this track is blazing. Some fantastic ska core here. We have trumpets, you have blazing instrumentals, you've got some nice political lyrics, some satirical nature going on there. This is fantastic. The song's a banger. If you're into ska core, ska punk, regular punk, check this out. Good stuff. Good stuff. This number 8 on best tracks of the week. And next we have Nation by Homefront off their new EP. This is a blast. This is a nice new wave meets punk vibe. Vocally, you're getting those gruff punk, maybe melodic hardcore vocals mixed with this new wave vibe, like very 80s sounding, but never did I think these two would go together hand in hand like they do here. This has a wonderful vibe to it and still brings some extremely raw, passionate vocals to the mix. This is number 7 on our best tracks of the week, and it deserves it too. It's good stuff. If you want something different, that's what you're going to want to check out. While I am very hit and miss with NEFFEX, they jump in on number 6 on our list. NEFFEX is one of those rappers who has a sound, and sometimes it is hard for him to get out of that sound, such as like Hollywood Undead has a sound or Eminem has a sound. They vocally, a lot of times it sounds like he's using it's the same sound, and it kind of gets old after a bit. But with this track, he brought in a very, very nice change of pace. There is a flute in the instrumentals that is just banging. Some great pipe work there. Lyrically fantastic. Vocally fantastic. Some great flows in here. Some nice change of pace. This is a great track by NEFFEX. Change, everybody. The Gaslight Anthem comes in at number 5. I Live in the Room Above Her. Fantastic track. Wonderful, moody vibe. And I'm telling you what, guys, this album is the soundtrack to your autumn, okay? It is a moody, kind of adds a little bit of blues rock in there. Oh, it's so good. And that chorus almost has a 80s ballad quality to it. That is just fantastically woven into this song. I was highly impressed with this. Great storytelling as well. This definitely feels like classic rock reimagined. Like those lyrics we grew up with jamming on the radio, and they just had some nice, you're like, wow, it felt a little more, I don't know, something about nostalgic maybe. That's kind of what you're getting here. And it is great. Vocally, instrumentally, very nice pace. Granted, it's one of those tracks that are albums in general that you got to be in the mood for. So take that into note, but I really, really enjoy this track, and that's why it's number 5 on this week's new tracks. Guys, if you have not joined the Discord yet, make sure you check that out in the description down below, and any other of the tracks that we've checked out so far. You can see all that in the description down below, as well as the total list of stuff we found that we enjoyed during the live reactions to these songs on Fridays on my Twitch channel, which can also be found in the description down below. Next song is King Kong by PWRUP. This song is the second song in the top 10 by this band, and well-deserved it is. It is a perfect mix of punk, hardcore, ska, and this song really shows off the pacing instrumentally that just keeps things fresh throughout, and I was really impressed with this. I think the one thing is vocally with this song that could be a hit or miss with people. Very high vocals initially, and on first listen, I was impressed with the song, and I still really enjoyed it. Still made it the best, but I didn't think it'd make top 10, to be 100% honest with you. But on a few more listens, I got really used to those vocals, and I really started loving this song. They put out a banger of an album. So if you are into ska, punk, hardcore, ska-core, we're just going to call it ska-core. If you're into ska-core, you need to check this out. This should be on your radar for that, and this, I would argue, could potentially be album of the year when it comes to ska-core or ska-punk. Next on the list is Ashamed by Health, which is an intriguing top 10 for me because I'm not a giant Health fan. However, the just brooding, moody instrumental to this with kind of some choppy club slapping in the chorus area. And then, I mean, vocally, it's just kind of monotone across the way, but lyrically, I like this song, and that beat really just brings me in, and it could be the weather, and you guys know how I am with matching my picks with what the weather is for some reason in my weird little head. But damn, this is a solid ass track. It's just moody. It's still upbeat in some weird way. It works out really well. If you're looking for something different, that's not, it's like a hybrid of pop and industrial and maybe some other, I don't know. It's wild. It's a good pick though. It's a good song. This is number 3 on our top 10 weekly. And finally, we have track number 2. Guys, Exit Eden featuring Marko from Nightwish. Okay, first of all, you're telling me Clementine from Visions of Atlantis and Marko from Nightwish? Okay, you sold me right there. I'm not going to lie. And this is exactly what you would expect from those two. A absolutely beautiful, beautiful song. And it just has all the right melodies that really catch. If you're into power or symphonic metal and that range of things, you're going to want to check this out. It is absolutely gorgeous. And if you're a Nightwish fan, yeah, get on it, guys. What are you even doing? This is a fantastic track. And will you look at that? Gaslight Anthem coming in at number 1 with the Weatherman, the piano, the moodiness. It's raining this week constantly where I'm at. This song is perfect for this week. I've already listened to this like 6-7 times since I've reacted to it on the Twitch channel during a sound discovery. This is a hell of a vibe for this time of the year. I don't know what else to say. They deservedly, shout out to Gaslight Anthem and PWRUP, 2 songs in the top 10. I have like weird OCD with trying to keep everything fresh and not have multiple of the same bands in there. And we had plenty of songs to choose from. We checked out over 75 songs on the live stream. And out of those 75, the Gaslight Anthem and PWRUP came with 2 songs that are in the top 10. So if you guys have not checked out the new Gaslight Anthem or the new PWRUP album, you are missing out. You need to get on that. And just remember, all the songs picked by both of those artists are not singles that have already been released. We avoided the singles and listened to the rest of the album as we're doing truly new music that's dropped in the last 7 days. So guys, these aren't even singles, and they're in the top 10. It says a lot about those two bands. So make sure you guys go out there and check those bands out. If you are enjoying my content, please give me a like. Drop down the comments and let me know what you think on some of these ratings. I would love to hear that. Again, try my best to be respectful, but I am honest when it comes to that. But it is just my opinion, y'all. Okay? I love to hear you disagree, so drop down. I love to hear you agree. Drop down in the comments, all right? Let's have some fun here. Let's talk about some music. Let's have some fun exchanges, all right? I'm Joel, a.k.a. Pyro. Until next time, y'all. I hope you enjoyed Sound Discovery.